Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the SMC Global Securities Limited Q1 FY22 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Anuj Sonpal from Valorem Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Sonpal.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to you all. My name is Anuj Sonpal from Valorem Advisors. We represent the investor relations of SMC Global Securities Limited. On behalf of the company, I would like to thank you all for participating in the company's earnings conference call for the first quarter of financial year 2022. Before we begin, I would like to mention a short cautionary statement. Some of the statements made in today's earnings conference call may be forward-looking in nature. Such forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties which could cause actual results to differ from those anticipated. Such statements are based on management's beliefs as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to management. Audiences are cautioned not to place any undue reliance on these forward-looking statements in making any investment decisions. The purpose of today's earnings conference call is purely to educate and bring awareness about the company's fundamental business and financial quarter under review. Now let me introduce you to the management participating with us in today's earnings conference call and give it over to them for opening remarks. Firstly, we will have with us Mr. Subhash C. Agarwal, Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Mahesh Gupta, Vice Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Ajay Garg, Director and CEO of the Broking Division, Mr. Himanshu Gupta, Director and CEO of the NBFC Division, Mr. D.K. Agarwal, CMD of Wealth Management and Investment Banking Division, Mr. Anurag Bansal, Director of Distribution and Investment Banking, and Mr. Pranay Agarwal, Director and CEO of StockScout, SMC's discount brokerage platform. And lastly, we also have with us Mr. Vinod Kumar Jamar, President and Group CFO. Now, without any further delay, I request Mr. Subhash Agarwal to start with his opening remarks. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to welcome you all to the earnings conference call of SMC Global Securities Limited for the first quarter of the financial year 2022. Firstly, I hope you are all keeping safe and well. Before we get into the earnings highlights, since this is our first earnings conference call after listing, let me start by giving some background about our company to bring everybody on the same page. SMC Global Securities Limited was established in 1994 by myself and Mr. Mahesh Chandra Gupta, who is the current Vice Chairman and Managing Director. Over the years, the company had grown into a diversified financial services company offering a wide spectrum of services like brokerage, investment banking, wealth management, distribution of financial products, financing, insurance broking, clearing and depository services, fixed income securities, financial advisory services to corporates, institutions, high net worth individuals and other retail clients. We have a strong network of more than 2,500 sub-brokers and authorized persons spreading across 550 cities in India, thereby servicing approximately 90 lakhs unique clients. Over the years, we have also launched various innovative digital technology-enabled capabilities to offer best-in-class products and services. We launched our discount broking arm in 2019 under the brand name of StockCard, which is a first of its kind platform in the broking industry where customers are charged for the profitable transaction. And I am happy to say that this platform has been seeing a very encouraging response. The company is governed by strong board including 6 independent directors of 5 standing and is run by a highly qualified and experienced management team. We have had a consistent growth track record and are well positioned for continued growth in the coming years with our esteemed present track record and by embracing the latest technologies. I now hand over to Mr. Vinod Kumar, our Group CFO, to take you through the financial and operational performance for the first quarter. Mr. Vinod Jamar.
Thank you, Subhash sir. Good morning, everyone. Let me take you through financial performance of the first quarter of FY22 of our company on a consolidated basis. The operating income for the quarter was rupees 231 crores, which increased by approximately 25% on a year-on-year basis and decreased by 11% on quarter-on-quarter basis. The operating EBITDA reported was rupees 51 crore, which increased by approximately 90% year-on-year and decreased by approximately 8% quarter-on-quarter. The EBITDA margin for the quarter was reported at 22.2% and net profit after tax was reported was rupees 26 crore, which increased by 7% on year-on-year and decreased by 19% quarter-on-quarter. The PAT margin for the quarter was 11.4%. Moving on to our key business segments, the broking, distribution and trading business reported a revenue of rupees 164 crores in Q1 FY22, which grew by 22% year-on-year, while there was a Q-on-Q decline of 8%, which was due to a certain amount of seasonality, where there generally are higher revenues in the fourth quarter. The EBIT for the segment declined on Q-on-Q basis due to lower proprietary trading gains in current quarter as compared to the previous one. Further, we entered into a new banking tie-up with Dhanlaxmi Bank as an execution partner of our broking services. The insurance broking arm reported revenue of rupees 50 crores in Q1 FY22, which grew by 30% year-on-year and de-grew 31% quarter-on-quarter, which was primarily on account of the impact of lockdown restrictions imposed on back of second wave of COVID-19 pandemic and some degree of seasonality effect. Furthermore, the division had a EBIT loss due to one-time exceptional loss of rupees 3.7 crore booked on investment. Lastly, the financing business had a strong growth of 24% year-on-year and a marginal decline of 5% quarter-on-quarter due to lesser disbursements during lockdown period in Q1 FY22, resulting in a lower loan book. However, there was a significant improvement in EBIT for the segment on a Q-on-Q and YOY basis due to our focused efforts in improving the asset quality of the book, resulting in higher recoveries and lower GNPA. We also added 2 new branches in Jaipur and Ludhiana during this quarter for our NBFC business. With that, we can now open the floor for the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Aditya Shah, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, good morning. I'd like to ask, what are your active client base for the month of July? If I can get a number or something?
This is a call regarding the Q1, so we cannot comment on the July numbers.
Gotcha. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Rahul Jain, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Some questions on the NBFC business. So I wanted to understand what is the lending mix in terms of sectors and how much of our exposure is to SME companies. And, what is our strategy going forward on the lending mix? Will it change or, will be the same going forward?
Okay, yeah, this is Himanshu Gupta. I'll answer this question. So basically, as of now, our current lending mix is more particularly focused on SME customers. So we have various product offerings for SMEs like loan against property, medical equipment loans and unsecured loans. So as of now, these 3 would constitute around 70% of our loan book. And another about 18% of the loan book is to the other NBFCs, lending to other NBFCs, and rest is capital market, finance and consumer durable loan book. Going forward also we would like to focus on SME lending, and we are also open to add new product offerings as and when it comes. So the strategy would be to focus more on the retail client base. Like acquiring the retail customer base is the key strategy here. So we would be expanding our distribution reach also to achieve that. As Jamaji just told that this quarter we made operational 2 additional branches in the NBFC. So our focus is on retail acquisition.
Okay, thank you for the information. And also, as I can see, we saw a good recovery in the NBFC segment. But however, the total asset under management has come down. So what is driving the performance, and what is the strategy for this?
Sure. So as we know that this quarter, particularly during the second COVID wave, practically the 2 months, which is April and May, were practically non-operational from the disbursement point of view. So we lost those 2 months for getting new business. However, we picked up quickly during the June month. So that is the key reason why the loan book degrew during the quarter against March 21. However, we had witnessed good recoveries in couple of accounts during the quarter. So we had if you look at our GNPA numbers, those have also gone down against March 21. And I think now the situation is pretty normalized. So we are picking up on the new business development.
Understood. And lastly, our secured portfolio is around, I think 55%, but most NBFCs are, conservative and have around 60 to 70% of secured portfolio. So is there a strategy around the secured and unsecured mix?
So I think it is going to remain within that range only. For the unsecured, we balance it through the correct pricing that we charge to the customer that takes care of the potential credit loss that we have over the life of the loan.
Understood. And okay, I had some more questions. Like we have been able to bring down our gross NPAs this quarter. So could you talk about why these NPAs have risen, a lot over the last few years, and you can maybe also talk about our current collection efficiencies, and what levels do you think you will be able to bring down the gross NPAs by end of this year?
Sure. So basically, we saw spike in the gross NPAs during the last financial year, which is March 21. The reason was the pandemic, because a lot of our customers had witnessed cash flow crunch, which was seen across the industry. So I think across all the lenders, we saw this kind of trend. The RBI gave moratorium till August 2020. After that, there was a Supreme Court ruling which had put say on declaration of fresh NPA accounts, and that was lifted in February 2021. So on account of that event and the Supreme Court ruling that came at that point of time, we saw a spike in NPA numbers during March 21 quarter. However, as the economy is recovering from the pandemic, we are seeing again the cash flows are coming back to the businesses, and in turn we are witnessing better collection numbers. For like the current collection efficiency for the standard bucket is at about 95%. And what was your last question?
Just to follow up on that. So is there a change in strategy to ensure that the GNPAs don't rise further from these levels?
So we have strengthened our collection mechanisms, and also we are cautious on the new lending. So we have customized or reframed our credit policy to take care of the recent pandemic. So we have filtered out certain sectors which we are not lending to.
Okay, understood. And so is it right to assume, like, due to the current strategy, the disbursements were so low in the current quarter, or is there some other reason for the low disbursements?
No, it was not due to this strategy. I think it was primarily due to the lockdown situation during the first 2 months of the quarter.
Got it. Understood. Thank you so much for answering. I'll come back in queue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, to ask a question, please press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Meera Nair, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. So my first question is, could you talk a little bit about your discount broking platform, StockScart, and how is this different from other platforms like Zerodha?
Hello, everybody. I'm Pranay Agarwal, CEO of StockScart. So I'll take up this question. I think so basically what we observed in the market last year when we started this discount broking was that many new investors were coming up in the market. New investor participation was there, but they were basically there was basically no one to actually take them through, guide them in their journey, and most of them were making a loss. So we have started this discount broking platform with the customer-centric ethos, and we have integrated our research, which our parent company provides, in our platform, and we have started this pricing model also, which charges you only when you earn profit. So I think our majority, our USP is a research-based platform, and also we have launched many first-in-class features in our app, like we have provided this robo-advisory feature where you can invest based on your risk appetite, and it will recommend you a stock basket. So I think many new things are also coming up, and we have created a new niche in the market, and that is something we aim to carry on.
Okay, and if I may ask, how much have we invested in this StockScart so far, and is the business breaking even or even contributing to the profits, or is it burning cash right now?
So, as I comment on the first quarter of the financial year, so in the first quarter we have made a So in the first quarter we have left on maybe a break-even situation. Around the break-even situation, we are a little on positive side only, but you can say it's a break-even, and I think that we have observed this that now month on month in the first quarter, month on month, we are currently showing a positive trend in earnings.
Okay. And can you tell me how much have we spent on it since the starting, since 2019? I mean, what is the total investment in this?
So we have so around you can say around 4 crores. You can put that number. Around 4 crores would be which we have spent right now, but we have taken a capital from our parent company of around 10 crore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question I would like to ask, that we can see there has been very much good growth in your overall broking business in terms of client additions and daily turnover, but the same is not reflected in your revenues. So can you please explain what happened as to why revenue growth has declined?
I think Jamar would take up the question.
Hi, this is Vinod Jamar. Actually, our turnover has increased. It has got two parts. One is broking and another is arbitrage part. So in the stable market, in arbitrage there could be lesser opportunities of profitability, but still there could be higher volume. So the growth is attributed to the more arbitrage transactions, but the same is not reflected in the bottom line.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question now. The next question is from the line of Mira Gupta, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So I am new to the company. So can you explain why we decided to go for listing directly and not raise money through the IPO process, since the IPO market is so hot right now?
Yeah, you see, actually 2-3 years back, we were planning to list in New York Stock Exchange, and our paper was almost clear through SEC, and we did roadshows, and but due to some regulatory from the Ministry of Finance, where at that time some guidelines were under preparation. So that Finance Ministry had stopped us not to go for ADR. So then we thought, okay, we should go direct listing because we were listed in regional stock exchange. And at that time when we thought, then market was not so good, and still we are open to go for ADR and for IPO and here in domestic market. So that is why we thought not to go for an IPO and go for direct listing.
Okay. Sir, also I wanted to know, the broking and NBFC business seems to be very overcrowded right now and highly competitive. So can you explain a growth strategy across our businesses, and what kind of growth in top line or bottom line can we see in the coming years?
Yeah, you see, we always would like to face challenges, and our whole verticals are in a good standing, you can say. So, and we have all young team and experienced team also. So we don't find that there won't be a challenge, because all type of in industry or everything have to survive, and we are better poised for taking all challenges, and we are doing well. So in time to come, we are positioned to take challenges, and we will do better. That I can say.
So any guidelines with regards to top line or bottom line can you suggest?
You see, our regulations doesn't permit us to tell and guidelines. I can only say we are doing better, we will do better.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so very much. All the best.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, please press star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, you may press star and 1. Participants, to ask a question, please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Aditya Shah, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, sir. I would like to know, what about the dividend policy, sir? What is the kind of payout you would expect to give every year?
Dividend payout.
You are asking about dividend payout?
Yes, sir. What can we expect every year, like a payout every year, sir?
Yeah. We have a dividend policy. As per policy, our 30% we distribute as a dividend, minimum. So we can declare more, but minimum we have to declare 30% of our profits. So we are proceeding as per that policy. Last year we declared 60% interim and 40% final dividend. So it makes total 100%.
Okay. Thank you so much.
It's all right.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please press star and 1 to ask a question now. Participants, to ask a question, please press star and 1. A reminder to all, to ask a question, please press star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, as there are no further questions from the participants, I now hand the conference over to Mr. Mahesh Gupta from SMC Global Securities Limited for closing comments.
Myself Mahesh Gupta. Thank you all for participating in this earnings phone call. I hope we have been able to answer your questions satisfactorily. If you have any further questions or would like to know more about the company, please reach out to our investor relations manager at Valorum Advisors. Thank you. Stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of SMC Global Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.